Hello students, welcome to AriserTalent. Today in this lecture we are going to talk about a very important and interesting topic, that is food and human health. Oh, food. Food, as the word comes in our mind, we feel very happy. Why? Because food something which gives us energy. We are carving for something, we are craving and we really like to eat something to get the energy, even to live a long life. Okay, so thus we can say, once the word food comes in the mind, many things comes in the mind. Sometimes I like to eat pizza, sometimes I like to eat chapatis, rice and rajma. Wow, so everyone has some favorite dish according to his or her choice. Fine, so let me tell you first of all, what is food. What is food? Food means something very nutritious, which is very essential for the life and for the growth of the particular individual. Okay, so what is food? Food means something which is nutritious. Okay, and this is essential for the life and for the growth of the individual. Fine, so here food doesn't mean only like the burger, pizza, french fries. Okay, food means something which is nutritious. So how do you get these nutritious food? You get it from the plant as well as from the animals also. So here let's talk about food first. Food means nutritious substances that are essential for life and growth. Okay, and generally we take them in the form of liquid form or in the solid form that we eat or drink. Okay, as we drink milk, milk is kind of food because it contains many nutrients. It contains carbohydrate, it contains proteins, vitamins, minerals. So milk is also known as complete food. So thus we can say that the whatever we eat or whatever we drink, if it is nutritious, then it is known as food because it is essential for our life and growth. Fine, so thus we can say what kind of food is healthy for our life. That food is known as balanced diet. It's not like that, I told you, it's not like that if you eat pizza, it's burger, then it is healthy for you. No, it's not healthy for you, it's total unhealthy diet. Okay, so what is healthy diet? What are the different nutrients which are required for the body? So here let me define you that whatever diet means the food which contain all the nutrients. What are nutrients? Nutrients means essential substances which are required for the growth and the life and growth for the life. Fine, so here let me define that the food which contains all the nutrients, like it contains carbohydrate, proteins, vitamins, minerals, fats, water, rough phase, then it is known as balanced diet. Okay, so what kind of diet we should eat? We should eat a balanced diet. Okay, now let me define balanced diet. What kind of food we should eat? We should eat a balanced diet. What is a balanced diet? A diet that contains all the nutrients like carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, water and rough phase. Okay, so a diet that contains all the nutrients in the or required for the growth and development of an individual and these nutrients should be in the adequate amount. So here we must say a diet that contains all the nutrients like carbohydrate, fat, protein, vitamins, minerals, water, rough phase required for the growth and development of an individual. So they must be in the adequate amount. Okay, and these nutrients must be in an adequate amount. This diet is known as balanced diet. So hope it is clear to you. Balanced diet which is balanced. How it is balanced? Because it contains all the nutrients in the adequate amount. Nothing is more, nothing is lesser. Okay. So as I told you that our body or animal's body need proper nutrients, proper amount, adequate amount of nutrients for the proper functioning of all the organs. Fine. For the metabolic activities. Fine. So all the activities which are occurred in a human body, they need some nutrients. Clear? So these nutrients should be there in our diet. Otherwise, what will happen? In the lack of these nutrients, our body will suffer from malnutrition. Okay, that will also I'll teach you in my further lecture. So first of all, let me clear. Balanced diet means a diet that contains all the nutrients in the adequate amount which are required for the growth and proper functioning of the all organs. Fine. So here balanced diet is clear. Now we will talk about that why this diet is essential or why do we need it. We need it, as I told you, we need it for the growth and development of the organs. Fine. As well as we need them for the proper functioning of organs. We need them for the proper metabolic activities. Fine. So now let me define why do we need balanced diet. What is the importance of this balanced diet? What is the importance of this balanced diet? As I told you, it contains all the nutrients in the adequate amount. So it is required, it is essential, means balanced diet is essential for proper growth and development. Okay. Then it is required for all the metabolic activities or metabolic reactions. It is essential or it is required. It is required for metabolic reactions. Okay. As well as if, as I told you, means balanced diet, it is containing all the nutrients in the adequate amount. But if there will be any nutrient will lack in our body or lack in the food, means our body will not get that particular nutrient, then that time our body will be prone to the diseases and infections. Fine. So, in the case of deficiency, of nutrients, of any nutrient, our body will be prone to diseases, infections. Okay. So, we all need the nutrients in the proper amount, and that is known as balanced diet. So hope it is clear to you that why do we need the balanced diet. First of all, what is balanced diet? Diet that contains all the nutrients in the proper amount, as well as why do we need it. If you really want to grow properly, if you really want to be healthy for the long life, okay, or if you really want to avoid the diseases, if you really want to improve your immunity, then you need to take all the nutrients in the proper amount. Means you have to take balanced diet beside taking the fast food, etc. Clear? So here I must mention one more point, that it helps to boost immunity. Okay, like hope you all have studied in the junior classes as well, that vitamins and minerals help us to fight diseases. How? I will teach you now. Okay, so hope everything is clear. Why do we need the balanced diet? Now we will talk about all the components of the balanced diet. What are the components? I told you we must have a balanced diet, but what are the components of the balanced diet? Components of the balanced diet. Components means what are the essential parts of that diet? Carbohydrates, okay, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, water, and roughies. Okay, so carbohydrate and fats both are known as energy giving foods. They both are known as energy giving foods. I'll explain you every component in detail. Proteins are known as bodybuilding foods because they help us to build muscles and bones. Okay, so these are known as bodybuilding foods. Okay, these vitamins and minerals help us to fight diseases. So these are known as protective foods. Fine. Water and roughies. Here water help us in very I must say that the most of the part of our body needs water because it helps us in many metabolic reactions. So we must say that the water is very essential part of our diet. Okay, and roughies help us to remove the undigested food from our body. Okay, so these two are also very important in our diet. Fine. Now first of all we will talk about the carbohydrates. We will talk about carbohydrates. As I told you, carbohydrates are energy giving food. First of all, carbohydrates. Okay, what are carbohydrates? Carbohydrate means they are energy giving food. They provide us energy. Generally these carbohydrates are the source of energy, but these are not the richest source of energy. These are the cheapest source of energy. Whatever food we eat, that food's 60 to 70% amount of that particular food, we get energy from that food. Fine. I must say that whatever food we eat, then from that food we get only 60 to 70% energy in the form of carbohydrate. Fine. So what are carbohydrates? Generally these are energy giving foods. Means these are the source of energy. Fine. Generally carbohydrates are of two types. They are of two types. What are they? Sugar and starch. They are sugar and starch. Fine. If we talk about the sugar, then this is simple carbohydrate. Okay. Sugars are known as simple carbohydrates. Fine. These are known as simple carbohydrates, and generally we get sugar from the fruits, vegetables and from the milk. Even we add the sugar in many products like cake, milk, tea, coffee, okay, to add some sweetness in them. Fine. So examples of sugar will be, naturally we get it from fruits, vegetables and milk. Okay. And next, if we talk about starch, starch is known as complex carbohydrate because it is made up with the combination of many simple carbohydrates. Fine. Starch is known as complex carbohydrate, and generally the natural source of starch is potato, rice, okay, beans, etc. Clear? So we need this carbohydrate for many activities, to perform activities, because we need energy to do the activities, and then we can say that we get carbohydrate, we get energy from the carbohydrate. Okay. Now we will talk about fats. Fats are also known as energy giving foods. I must say these are the richest source of energy. Next is fats. So they are also known as energy giving foods. These are energy giving foods. Okay. So whatever we eat, if we eat in the excess amount, then all the food is not consumed completely by our body. What happened in that case? In that condition, the extra fat get accumulated in our body under the skin or below the skin. Okay, later on we use that fat in the form of energy. Fine, or to get the energy. Fine. So here let me mention fats. Whatever food we eat, generally whatever the source of fat are there, the sources are cheese, edible oil, meat, etc. Means butter, ghee, everything is source of fats. Okay, when we eat excess amount of food, or when we eat extra food, when we are not required but still we are eating that food. So when we eat excess amount of food, or when we consume excess fat, then all the fat or all the food is not consumed, all the fat is not consumed by our body. So extra fat get collected below the skin for later use. Okay, so these are the points of the fats. That fat is also known as energy giving food. We get fat from the butter, ghee as well as cheese, edible oil and meat. These are the richest source of fat. Fat are, as I told you, that the fat provides us energy to do the different activities, but when we eat the excess amount of that fat, that is not completely consumed by the body, and the extra fat is collected below the skin, and it is used later on for getting the energy. Okay, now we will talk about proteins. Like fats and carbohydrates, protein is also made up of, or it also contains carbohydrates, also contain carbon, hydrogen and nitrogen, as well as it contains nitrogen also. Fine. The richest source of protein are what? Generally we get protein from the what? We get it from the yolk of the egg. Okay, we get it from meat, we get it from pulses. Okay, so these are the richest source of protein. As I told you that protein help us to build muscles. How it happens actually, where as we all know that amino acid which is present in our body helps to synthesize protein. Fine. When this protein is synthesized, it helps us to make the new muscles and tissues. We all know that the tissues are formed by the cells. So thus we can say that the proteins are essential for our body because they help us to build muscles. When you get injured, okay, that time the ruptured muscles get covered or that recover by the help of this protein only. Fine. Let me define you protein. Next is proteins. They are known as what? They are known as bodybuilding foods. They are known as bodybuilding. They are known as bodybuilding food because they help us to build muscles and tissues, as they help in building muscles and tissues. Okay, as we all know that amino acid helps to synthesize protein in our body. Okay, these proteins are generally digested in our small intestine as well as in the stomach. Let me mention here, they are digested in the stomach and small intestine. Okay, these proteins which are synthesized by amino acid, they get digested in the stomach and small intestine. Fine. Here, as I told you that amino acid synthesize the protein, then these proteins synthesize the new cells and the tissues. They synthesize new cells or they form new cells and these cells form new tissues. Thus, we can say that as these proteins are synthesizing or these proteins are helping to form tissues, thus we can say they are known as bodybuilding foods because they help us to build muscles. As we all know, muscles are what? Muscles are tissues. Okay. So, here let me mention that when our muscles get ruptured, protein help to build or to build them or in recovery, to build them or in recovery of ruptured tissue. Okay, so let me mention here that whenever our muscles get ruptured, that time this protein helps them to recover. Okay, the proteins help them to recover. Okay, and generally where do we get these proteins from? We get these proteins from the plants as well as from the animals. So here let me mention the sources of protein. Sources of proteins. What are the sources of proteins? Generally there are two sources by plant. First source, if you talk about plant, then we get what? We get groundnut, beans, pulses from the plants only. Groundnut, pulses, okay, etc. And if we talk about the animal source, then we get proteins from the meat, fish, etc. or egg, etc. So these are the sources of protein. Now we will talk about the other component of the food or the balanced diet, that is water and rough phase. Next we will talk about water and rough phase. Next is water and rough phase. Water is essential component of food, or it is very much required by our body because it helps it to regulate many activities in our body. It helps us to regulate the body temperature and the evaporation. Fine. So let me define why do we need water. Water help us. Water is an essential substance. Okay, generally we need it for what? It helps to regulate body temperature, it helps to regulate body temperature and evaporation. Fine. It helps in reaction as solvent. It helps in reactions as solvent. Fine. So thus we can say it is required for our metabolic activities. Generally it is present in the cytoplasm, it is present in the blood plasma. Okay, water is present in the cytoplasm, blood plasma, etc. Okay, and it is required for the metabolic reactions. Fine. So how do we take water? Generally we intake it directly or indirectly. Okay, directly we intake it, or we take it in the form of other liquids like juice, tea, coffee, etc. Fine. Generally, if we talk about the source, so we can take it directly or as liquid like tea, coffee, juice. Okay. So this is all about the water. Now we will talk about rough phase. Rough phase generally help us in bowel movement. It is essential for our body movements. Generally it helps us in the bowel movement. Okay, so it helps us in digestion. Now let me talk about rough phase. Rough phase. So generally, what are the sources of rough phase? What are rough phase? First of all, let me tell you what are rough phase. Rough phase are generally the fibers which are present in the peels and in the fruits and vegetables. Okay, roughage means fibers. Roughage means fibers present in the fruits and vegetables. Okay. What is the function of this roughage in our body? This roughage helps in the bowel movement. It helps in digestion and bowel movement. Okay, so thus we can say that the roughage are essential for what? Roughage are essential for the digestion, means they help us in the digestion. Fine. So this was all about the components of what? Components of balanced diet. Hope everything is clear to you. Thank you.